Hello, friends and neighbors and airheads, both new and old. And by airheads, both new and old, I mean those of you who have been with us from the jump and those of you who may be joining us just because we're doing something on House of the Dragon here on Little House of the Dragon. Either way, we're happy to have you. And I just wanted to jump on here before the episode started and tell you how much we appreciate you. We appreciate all the positive comments. We appreciate all the likes and subscribes and the downloads and the telling of your friends and all that good stuff. Not only just because we want the show to be great and we want y'all to enjoy it, but this is my sister's, start in podcasting, and y'all just made it such a positive experience for her, and I really, really couldn't thank y'all enough. She's new to this, and but I feel like she just came out the gate smashing, and I know that because anything in life, you get better as you go, that she's going to be just so awesome at it. And y'all have been just a warm blanket, and it's made me so happy, and it's made her so happy. And I just really wanted to say that I thank you for that. And I look forward to hopefully doing more things with my sister in the future if y'all will have us, which I think y'all will. Y'all are sweet people. And, of course, my sister's hilarious. It's not like they're doing a charity job here. But anyways, we also, speaking of my sister, next week we're actually going to be doing the episode a little bit different. Because, as I said, my sister was new to podcasting, and now that she feels a little bit more comfortable, she's had some sort of out-of-the-box ideas on how we can approach this episode with some new segments and just a bunch of cool new things. I'll just say that. And I wanted to say this. If you're just listening to us on the Puttin on Air's feed, next week might be a good time for you to switch over and watch us at watchpoa.com, because we're going to try to film it more like a TV show and make something really cool. And, you know, as cool as me and my sister can do on the very, very, heavy Airstream trailer production budget, which is just me and my sister with a string and a couple of cans, baby. No, I'm just kidding. But if you haven't gone to watchpoa.com, I'd highly suggest that you do that, at least for next week's episode. And speaking of watchpoa.com, if you are watching it this week, I would like to go ahead and preface this episode with an apology. We filmed outside at my house, which we did last week, and it wasn't a problem because I live on the most boring street ever, like one of the most boring streets of all time. But for some reason this week, I don't know if Dolly Parton was in town or there was a chewing tobacco parade or something, but my road was just busy as hell. So you'll notice me in the video adjusting the mic every now and then, and it's not that big of a deal, but I totally understand how someone could be distracted by it, because I would probably be distracted by it. So I just want to let you know that we are cognizant of that, and we promise not to do that in the future. But for the record, if you're going to comment and call me a dumbass for doing so, that's totally fine. I deserve it. But I just wanted to let you know here that, I know that happened. And now that you know that happened, maybe it won't bother you as much. But that won't happen next week here on Little House of the Dragon. And remember, if you had been subscribed at CoreyWritesForYou.com, you would have gotten this episode early and ad-free. It is $5 a month. That is my subscription service at CoreyWritesForYou.com. But if you can't afford the $5 a month for any reason, I don't care if you're sick, out of work, on strike, got too many kids, got some health problems, it don't matter. You just got to email me at buttercreamcorey@gmail.com, and I will comp you, no questions asked. You literally can just email me and say, free subscription, sir, and I'll do it. It don't matter what it is. I don't want it ever to be about the money that people can't have the stuff that I make. I do like to make money though, but y'all get it. So thank y'all so much. Like I said, go to CoreyWritesForYou.com, and hey, I'll stop talking. Let's get on with this week's episode of Little House of the Dragon here from the Airstream Studios. Welcome back, Airheads, to another episode of Little House of the Dragon. I am Professor Cho, Corey Ryan Forster, joined as always by my sister
Kirby,
Lady Lady Kirby Ann ask you first of her name?
Yes.
I assume there's nobody else named that, at least in Chickamauga.
Yeah, no, for sure.
So we're on a 2-week run so far. We've done 2 episodes. We've gotten wonderful reviews. We thank everybody out there for continuing to like, subscribe, download, tell all your friends. Some of you, this may be the first time you've seen this in your feed. Go back and listen to the other 2 episodes. And also, if you haven't watched House of the Dragon, episode 3, now is the time to leave here and go do that. But I have had people, and this is I think the greatest compliment that we could receive. We have people that don't even watch the show that watch this.
Really?
Yeah, there's people who they've told me they're like, I'm not really interested in Game of Thrones or anything like that, but I really like y'all's review show.
Yeah.
And
so what do you listen to if you haven't? I mean, listen, I'm encouraging anyone that's ever existed to listen and watch our show.
Of course.
But I really want people to watch the show. I'm confused.
So I guess they just like the way that we talk.
Yeah, I mean,
or
we
whatever.
did, I guess.
I guess
don't
so.
know.
And there's
Cool.
also been people who have said they had no interest in the show until they watched our review, and now they've watched the show.
Awesome.
So.
Did you hear that, HBO?
Yes. Hire my sister for everything. So we're having a lot of fun. Thank y'all for continuing to support Puttin on Heirs and Little House of the Dragon. This week was a banger of an episode. I've enjoyed all of them. I know that we've probably started each podcast by saying, wow, what a great episode. And a lot of that is because we're not haters. Yeah. We're people who, if we don't have anything good to say, we'll just, not
focus on the
positive.
Mm-hmm.
I have enjoyed the first 2 episodes, but this episode in particular, I truly felt like, okay, this is Game of Thrones.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It was
very much so. Episode 3, Second of His Name. Starts out in the Stepstones. It's obvious that Drahar has, been whooping on Corliss's ships.
Right.
It's nighttime. All these, peeps are getting ate by crabs.
Yes, the peeps are getting ate by crabs.
Yeah, the peeps.
By the way, do we know exactly who Drahar is aside from he's this guy who is the crab person?
I think I'm assuming he was just almost like a sellsword, hired by the free cities to just do damage to imports, exports in the Stepstones. I mean, I guess
because they call him Prince Drahar or Drahar,
yeah,
or whatever. But I don't really know much of his backstory other than they just introduce us to hey, here's the crab feeder. He's doing some stupid crab stuff. The first scene in the show is a man being crucified, which is pretty metal, I thought.
Yeah. It was intense. And literally what's so funny, he's telling the crab feeder, how dumb and all this he is.
Yeah.
The worst things. And then he's like, oh, wait, never mind. You're about to nail me to the cross.
Yeah, please
stop.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you suck, but please stop.
Yeah, it's always funny how everybody in that situation, when they're about to be tortured.
They're so patriotic.
Yeah, they spit on their face. And then as soon as they start driving the nail into their hand, they're like, wait, what? What?
Yeah.
I didn't see this coming.
So that's happening. He gets nailed. All of a sudden, Damon comes out of nowhere on, and I'm sure I'm pronouncing this wrong. Is it Caraxes?
Correct. No, I think you got
Caraxes, his dragon.
Now, I couldn't spell it, but I think that you're saying it right.
Yeah, well, I think Caraxes. He comes out of nowhere, and he's burning everybody. Mm-hmm. Dracarys all up in it. Yeah. All up, which, by the way, it's dark outside. Don't know how he knows who he's burning. I think he's just rolling with it.
Well, that was what I was going to ask you is clearly we see that with how it goes down. With a dragon, you can't really, it's not like a sniper where it's okay, I'm hitting that guy. The wind is 3 clicks this way. You just kind of burn stuff.
Yeah.
And at that point, it's we're going to have some friendly fire, as it were.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not like we've got just home colors, away colors. Yeah. Literally, they're just all out on the field looking like they're playing for the same team. And he's just all right, I'm going to burn y'all. Well, during all this, crucified dude is just
being
sitting there, being crucified. And he's here comes my prince to save me. And it
Oh,
shouldn't.
hell, Prince Damon.
Like it's almost like, oh my goodness, he got on his dragon to come over here and save me. And then all of a sudden, he gets smashed by a dragonfoot.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't be so funny, but it was so funny.
I was going to ask you, like, do you think when they wrote it or when they blocked it out and shot it, do you think that they were like, okay, this is going to be a funny moment? Or if, like, it just happened to be funny for us? Because the timing was perfect. It's almost like you knew something's about to happen, and then I thought he was going to get burned.
Yeah.
And then...
Yeah. I mean, I would like to think that they knew it was going to be funny, because that means that they just know funny.
Yeah, right.
Because, I mean, it was funny.
Yeah, or if it was like...
that sentence didn't make sense, guys. I'm really sorry.
No,
but
that's
it
okay.
was funny.
Not much of what we say here in the
not
Airstream
much.
makes sense. But I think that maybe when they wrote it, it was like, this is going to be badass. And then they saw it and they were like, yeah, the timing of that was really good.
I mean, it hit hard. I mean, it hit hard.
Yeah, it was great.
And he let out a little, ooh. I mean, that was it.
After he got smushed in his gut. So, yeah, but I mean, he's just kind of, burning things, which I thought when we saw that this was going to be a very Damon heavy episode, and it turned out not to be. He was sort of like bookended in this episode, but bookended in two very metal, awesome ways. Like, they came right out of the gate, fire and brimstone. Also, we are 2 years in the future, correct?
3 years.
3 years.
Because the prince turned 2.
Yes, right.
Yeah, but also,
For inside baseball, because I'm not cutting it out. When we first, hold on, you're a little hot. Either talk into the mic or stay away from it, because
sorry, guys.
It's okay. When we first started recording these, I was showing Kirby how we edit, and if we messed up or something, I always you clap it in so that I can look for the spike. So now we're just going, and every time she fumbles any type of word, she's like,
I feel like I did that last episode, and you didn't tell me that you just weren't doing that.
It doesn't matter. What's this person's name that you're trying to figure out?
After the Stepstone scene, we get to Prince Aegon's second name day.
Mm-hmm. I think we should start calling our birthdays that.
Yeah.
I enjoy that.
I agree. And also, every 2 weeks was a fortnight, for sure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Sure. So we started
There's a lot
there.
we'll get to it later, but there's a lot of quotes from this show that I want to implement into my daily life
now.
now.
Yeah. No, I wrote one down.
Yeah.
That's just too good. We see that going on. The king's like, oh, yeah, here's my son. Cool. You got Otto Hightower, in the back scheming. Guy comes up to him and was like, listen, we're going to have to make sure that the prince is the heir.
That was that was Otto's brother, from what I gather.
Was it his brother?
The guy that was sitting there, and he's like, Prince Aegon on his second name day, he has such a kingly presence about him. And then Otto's like, yes, but this morning the king chose to eat porridge with his fingers.
Yes,
I'm pretty sure that that's Otto's brother.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I think he says dear brother or something like that. I could be wrong.
I knew he called him Lord Hand, but I don't know that might be
that's
true.
I think Otto called that guy dear brother, and he called him Lord Hand, because
okay.
I've noticed that in this show, even when the queen still calls Viserys your grace, even when they're together. Mm-hmm. It's like the formalities are never dropped. So this guy's the Lord Hand, his brother, or what it really was him saying, he goes, he will be king one day, and the Hand was like, I don't really know if that's how he's leaning. Mm-hmm. And then his brother goes, well, it's your job, Lord Hand, to make him lean that way, mm-hmm. which I think is him. It's not necessarily a formality, but him reminding him of who he is. Mm-hmm. You're the guy. Mm-hmm. Like King Viserys, as we see all throughout this episode and the 2 past episodes, it's almost like he doesn't want to do a lot of king stuff. No,
he literally said, I'm going to find the quote right here. He literally said in the episode that, in other words, it makes me mad, makes me sad that every time I make I make someone happy, somebody else
Yeah.
gets upset, which
Yeah.
I feel like is just, like girl talk, basically.
Yeah, that's
you
the
know,
world.
like, I mean, that's just part of the world. Like, a king's not supposed to be upset that maybe he hurt one of the king's, guards' feelings or something like that. I'm trying to remember what his little quote was.
You know, that was pretty much it. But I've been saying that this whole time. Whereas, like, the thing that makes Viserys
Anger's one to displease another.
That's it. The thing that makes him a good person is what makes you a bad king. And it's sort of like flipped my whole mindset on, like, whether it be political leaders or sovereign leaders elsewhere, of like, yeah, man, I mean, maybe you don't want the guy you can have a beer with. You know what I mean? Because the guy that you can have a beer with wants to make everybody happy. And when you're in a position of power, you have to go, what is best for the realm?
Well, and the guy that you can have a beer with, he either becomes the guy you can't have a beer with, or he dies.
Yeah, that's 100% true. And and with Viserys, I don't think that he's long for this world. Now, backing up just a little bit, apparently the festering wound that he had is not a problem. And I say that because if it was a problem, there's no way you could live with that for 2.5 years. Like, if I got staph infection and it went untreated, it's not like, I don't think, I'm not a doctor, everybody knows that, I don't think you could just leave that untreated for 2.5 years.
But I wonder if he had a finger amputated or something. He's wearing his gloves inside when they're at the camp, the king's camp or whatever. I see that he's wearing his gloves, and I thought, okay, well, let me make sure no one else is. No one else was wearing gloves. And I don't think that's necessarily like just a king thing. I'm like, is he hiding from people that he lost a finger?
Well, in the last scene, because I noticed that first, in the last scene when he's in there by himself, he wasn't wearing gloves. But who knows? I mean, that's the thing with this is, like, in a lot of shows, I would just go, that's just a detail, that's just a costume choice, but everything in these shows.
He's weak right now. Something's going on. I
Sorry, I had to blow a spider off my microphone. I apologize.
I think he's tired. Like, even just when he was just, like, drinking. I know he was getting drunk, so he was having a hard time pouring and stuff, but, like, he just seems...
He's worn out. He's mentally exhausted. Yeah. I think that they did... I think that I noticed they've thinned his hair a little bit more up top. So they're showing his age, like, slightly. And, I mean, we've all seen... it doesn't matter who the president is. When they show a picture of the president when they got elected versus when they're out of office, it's unbelievable. And I have to imagine, like, being the president of the United States, probably a little easier than being the king of the 7 realms. Like, you've got constant, I've got to send a dragon over here. There's a guy feeding my people to crabs. And
dire needs all the time.
Yeah, without question.
Yeah. All right, so the whole fam heads out to the King's Wood. They get there and they're having, just their little hunting party. And I noticed, there's a scene where there's obviously a bunch of noble women. They're all just sitting there, and they're just talking about what the king should do. And I thought, okay, is there just such a lack of respect for the king that you're not scared to just be within earshot of him talking about what he should do?
Well, he doesn't seem like that type of king who, like a Joffrey, where it's like, if you say one bad thing about me, I'm crucifying you in the town square to make He's not that guy.
No, but I feel like...
At least pretend.
Yeah, I'm not saying that. I'm not
when
saying
the
that,
queen is right there.
Yeah, I'm not saying kill him, but it would just seem so like, well, I mean, what do you think about it, queen? Like,
then the princess shows up and she's like, she's like, we're not, the crown's not at war. And that lady is like, yeah, we are. It's just the king refuses to admit it. Like, right in front of his daughter, right in front of the queen.
I just thought, man, know your place, woman.
I agree.
Yeah, I
agree.
But also,
100%.
like, good for you that you feel like you can talk about it. You know, obviously, like you said, he's not a Joffrey.
No,
I mean,
he's not a Joffrey at all.
No, he's not a Joffrey.
And you shouldn't be a Joffrey, but there's a good middle ground between Joffrey and Viserys that is probably what you need to be as king.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's just no one takes him that serious.
So, no, they don't. So we're up to the part now where...
No, she runs off to the Kingswood after Lannister dude, Jason Lannister.
What a great Lannister that guy is. Also, is he twin brothers with that other guy in real life? Oh, I mean, obviously, no, they CGI'd his face, Corey, you idiot.
Well, I mean, did they, like, parent trap him, or is it actually a twin, or did they just make him a twin?
I mean, they look just alike.
I know, but like, is it?
Oh, is it the same actor?
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, is it? I don't know.
Oh, I mean, that would be smart. I never saw them in the same scene together.
Yeah.
But the second time I watched, I didn't notice that the
they're
first
in
time.
the same scene together in one scene. They're sitting together, and I can't remember. I just remember them sitting together.
Yeah, I didn't notice that.
But like Annie and Hallie sat together.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. I didn't notice that. This is how much hair really does change how you look, which makes me feel horrible. But it changes everything because the first time I watched the episode, like, I paid attention and I didn't notice, like, oh my God, those two dudes are the same guy.
Yeah.
But then the second time I was like, wait, is this do all white people look alike?
Yeah,
like
well,
all British dudes?
And the first twin that we see in the episode, he's the one that, like, warns the king, like, hey, we're losing the Stepstones. And he's like, listen, bro, I'm trying to enjoy my kid's birthday.
Uh-huh.
Like, I'm not trying to talk about work right now. Like, let's celebrate the birthday.
He goes, it's been 3 years. It can wait 3 more days.
Yes.
And it's like, again, bro, come on.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Prince Damon's out there running amok. Like, it seems like you're procrastinating. There's always something. There's always a tournament. There's always a name day. There's always this, that, and the other. You need to be the king.
Yeah, exactly. And the other Lannister twin, Jason, which had Jaime in Game of Thrones and just Jason.
Yeah, they're the only ones that get to be named regular stuff.
Yeah. He basically proposes to the princess, lets her know, that Casterly Rock is thrice the size of the Wall or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, I think he said the Wall. And she's just like, okay,
okay.
Cool, bye.
I'm the heir, so I don't really care about Casterly Rock.
Yeah, so she goes in, sees her dad, and she's just like, seriously? Like, that's what you see of me? Are you trying to, like, sell me off? He tells her, like, no one is above tradition and duty, like, not...
Well, he screams this during the party,
yes.
At which point Otto has to be like, excuse me.
Yeah, chill.
Hey, buddy.
Chill. So she decides, I'm leaving, I'm out of here. So she gets on her horse and she starts riding. So Kristen Cole obviously is her, like, right hand protector. It's like, crap, I gotta go too.
Mm-hmm.
Follows her out there, which I thought, that kind of just shows, which I understand her wanting to get out of there, but her immaturity and naiveness in the fact that she doesn't mind risking his life.
Yeah, right.
If something actually happened to her, he probably would be executed.
I mean, maybe Viserys is too much of a wimp to do that, but surely, like, he would. Also, on a more gossipy side of the show, are you shipping them?
Oh, for sure.
Me too.
For sure.
Because I think that it's like, we see, him chase after her. They stay together pretty much all night. They fight a boar together. They cut up and laugh. Like, that was a great scene when she's like, my father's trying to marry me off to a Lannister of Casterly Rock. And he goes, do you want me to kill them?
Yeah.
And they kind of laugh together. And I was like, ooh, little
and we know
here.
that, outside of the show camera, they've had 3 years to build a relationship.
Exactly. They've been really, really close. She chose him.
And she chose him because she thought he was cute.
Of course. And this is flashing forward a little bit in today's episode, but the reason I say that is because we see all that. We see their budding relationship, and then at the end, her dad is like, you can marry whoever you want. Mm-hmm. I don't care. Go find someone that pleases you. Now, I assume that in his mind, he means a highborn prince.
Yeah, a lord of something.
A lord of something, not a low-born Kingsguard. But, like, I have a feeling that she's about to call his bluff and be like, I choose Sir Kristen
But
Cole.
she can't get. I mean, he swore an oath. He's not supposed to get married. He's basically like a man of the cloth. I'm pretty sure.
That's true. So if she marries him, he then can't be the thing that she fell in love with.
I almost think it might even be illegal for him to get married.
Well, I mean, he could, right? Because that's an oath till you die, right?
I'm pretty sure because I think that's honestly why Jaime did it in Game of Thrones, because he was in love with his sister and he knew if I become a Kingsguard, no one expects me to get married.
Right. Okay, but so Sir Barrister, he gave up. He denounced the Kingsguard. Did they kill him after that? The head Kingsguard, the most badass dude.
Oh.
He like denounced himself, and they were like, "You'll be stripped of all titles." And he's like, "I don't care. I can't serve this king." Did they execute him after that?
No, because he's the one that pledged his loyalty to Daenerys, right?
Yeah. So
At the end, and he just gets killed in a fight scene.
Yeah. So my point is like, it's not like if
He
Sir Chris.
fled, though.
That's true, but I'm saying like, I think if Sir Kristen Cole, if this is what I'm positing from all I know about the Game of Thrones lore. Yes, if they were to get married, he would have to strip himself of his titles as the Kingsguard, but then in exchange, he's married to the heir of the throne, so that's better.
Yeah.
So, like, if they're not able to execute him, I do think that they can pull this off, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, it's just a little murky.
Yeah, it's murky.
Yeah, for sure, murky. So they ride off to, like, the edge of, like, the mountain, basically. Have camp there.
Mm-hmm.
Next morning. Was it? Well, no. They have camp there that night. A boar runs out.
Oh, yeah. Did you think that he was about to get killed?
I thought he was getting impaled.
Yeah, because I don't trust Game of Thrones not to kill people that we fall in love with.
Yeah, never get too comfortable with any character.
Matter of fact, like, they thrive on it. Mm-hmm. They love that. Mm-hmm. When he starts walking and the music kind of gets slower, I was like, an arrow is about to go straight through his neck, and Prince diarrhea, whatever.
Drahar.
I was like, they've come in, and she's about to have to run, or they're going to take her captive, and now the king is going to be forced to set the. That's what I thought immediately was going to happen, and then Pumbaa shows up, and that's all it was.
Yeah, and so attacks him. Then it attacks the princess. He stabs it. He doesn't kill it, which, by the way, when he stabbed it with his sword, it
got
was like,
real close to her face.
Yeah.
I didn't notice that until the second watch.
Yeah, and so the pig starts squealing. She lets out all of her frustrations.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to me, I saw it as like 3 years of feeling ignored, not wanted. She knows what everyone's thinking, that the new brother should replace her as heir. She just lets out her frustrations on this pig. And, I mean, just goes to town stabbing this pig.
Yeah, it would have been hilarious if, as soon as she did that, they cut to Sir Kristen Cole and he goes, "This seems like it's about something else."
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it was definitely this seems like it's about something else.
Yeah, I mean, it's
moment.
just splattering all over, and she just keeps on going.
And that was one of the scenes in there that her and Damon mirrored. Because later in the show, you see him, and it's almost a beat-by-beat same thing of him beating that dude's head in with the helmet, which I still don't really know why he did that, but it was pretty badass.
He wanted to hit somebody.
Right.
He wanted to hit somebody. But before we get to that, next morning, they're like, okay, we're going to head home. The white stag comes out of nowhere. Oh yeah,
the one that they've been looking for, because this will be a monumental trophy for the king's second name day.
Yes. It's supposed to be a sign that Aegon is
the conqueror.
Yeah. They see the stag. Obviously, Sir Kristen is like about to kill it. She tells him no, and then it runs off. I don't know if that was supposed to like symbolize that she's supposed to be queen. I'm assuming,
right? Because she's like, no, that's what they want to happen.
Yeah,
they want this to be killed on his name day, because then that's. But don't you think though, if she'd been the one to kill it, they would have been like, the prophecies were wrong. It is her.
Yeah, I mean, I don't.
But they did get their regular stag.
Yes.
That guy shuffles up. He goes, "It's not white, me lord, but it'll do."
Yeah, and it's like, does it count as a hunt if you just tie it up and then hand someone their weapon and let them walk up to it and kill it?
I mean, that's what all those, like, the founder of, like, Jimmy John's, like, they go on all those Africa safaris, and it's basically the same thing. Like, all the tribesmen of this village, like, herd a giraffe into an area, then they hand them a gun, and they shoot them, and they're like, "Look at what I did." And it's like, you didn't do nothing.
Yeah. Well, and the king, you could tell, well, he sees it and he's disappointed because he was hoping it was going to be the white one.
Mm-hmm.
He has his big old saber.
Yeah, that Jason gave him, correct?
Yeah, Jason Lannister gave him because he was like, "Hey, I
It
want
would
to marry
be an
your daughter."
honor if this would provide the winning kill.
And it had like a random like cheerleader pom-pom on it or
yeah,
something.
it didn't look like any...
Like it was just like...
Because it
looked
wasn't...
like something from Hobby Lobby, like a little pom-pom.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah,
It
I don't
did.
know what that meant.
It looked like something that if me and you were throwing a Game
Amber
of Thrones...
has it in her classroom.
Yeah, I was about to say, it looks like something if me and you were going to throw a Game of Thrones party, how we would decorate the house.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I've used that for, like, all the baby showers I've ever thrown.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure. So, you could tell he's disappointed. He wanted it to be the white stag. They give him the big old saber, and they're like, go for it.
Get it right in the heart, me
Yeah.
lord.
So, he stabs it, and I can't tell if it's just disappointment that it's not the white one or if it's physically hard for him to do this.
Well,
that's why I feel like he's sick or something.
I hear you, and he could be, and maybe they're trying to hit us with some misdirection because it also could be that he drank for 24 hours straight, and he's a 50-year-old man.
That's the best line. Oh, my gosh.
He got so drunk, and so the line that I'm setting you up for, I'll let you say it, but he's
the
in...
gods
Hold on. He's in his chambers, and the queen comes in, and she's just like, "How are you feeling, my grace?" And he says,
"The gods have punished me for my indulgence."
Yeah, I'm never not saying that. If anybody ever asks me, "Are you hungover?" I'm going to say, "The gods have punished me for my indulgences."
Oh my gosh. That just sounded like something like Robert Baratheon would say while holding a chicken leg.
Yeah, or Mark Twain.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just a wonderfully written line, and
yeah,
it's just so funny.
That one's sticking with me.
It's so
that transcends.
And it's one of those things where, like, that's why the written word and fake stuff is always better than, like, the real history. Because, like, if they were trying to say that Henry VIII said that, I'd be like, he didn't, though. He said something, and then the scribe was like, you know what would hit harder if he said this. Because that's a tremendous line that he had to be, like, sitting there going, I hope somebody asks me if I'm hungover, because I got one for him. This is going to be good.
God, it was so good.
It was the best.
It reminded me of how, like, Downton Abbey. In Downton Abbey, Robert just has these good, like, lines like that. And every time throughout the whole series, someone's like, "Where'd you hear that?"
Yeah.
like, nothing could be just his originally.
Yeah.
They're like, someone told you that.
Did you read that in a book?
Yeah. Oh, but no, that line was just so good.
Okay, so where are we at here?
So he stabs it. He obviously doesn't stab it in the right spot. So it's like squealing, and guy comes up and he's like, "Try a little bit to the left."
Once more in the heart, my lord.
Yeah. So he stabs it. He kills it. Right after that, we go to the Stepstones. I think it cuts, and then we go to the Stepstones. He decides...
I'm kidding.
Oh. I was like, so he can just cut whenever he wants. Who elected you leader of this outfit?
Me.
I didn't.
It was my idea.
Yeah, okay. It was your idea.
You are an employee of the Airstream Studio, young lady.
Yes.
Do not act above your station.
Well, the queen convinces the king to send peeps out there to the Stepstones, which really, to me, showed the king and queen's relationship. They're friends.
Oh yeah. They really get along.
Yeah, like, I'm not saying that they're like each other's true love, but I think for what their situation is, it's the best it could ever be.
I think that he genuinely sees her as a companion. I think he respects her opinions.
Yeah, I think he does too.
I think that she probably thinks of him as like a father because it's kind of gross.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of which, are we to the point where that freaking the hand tries to get him to betroth Aegon to Rhaenyra?
I think I skipped that part on accident.
Well, that happened.
Yeah, and he's just like, my parents are brother and sister, and I'm literally a long line of incest. That's ridiculous.
It is but his second name day.
Yes. Like, literally, he thought that was crazy, even though in the history of House of the Targaryen, that has been done.
In fairness, I don't think he was scoffing at the idea of the brother and sister. I think he was just like, he's 2. Can we not? Like, that's a little gross. That's a little gross.
Yeah. I was like, thank God he wasn't like.
What do you think he is, 12?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. Oh, God, so gross. So she convinces the king, send some peeps out there to Damon. He gives one of his knights a note, and he's like, put this in Damon's hand yourself, which I don't know if I've said this before in a podcast. When did ravens become a thing?
Oh,
because,
right.
He's not sending a raven.
Yeah, that's true. Huh. That's interesting. It's funny, too, on that note about...
Is it because the Citadel hasn't been
started
yet? Because that's where the ravens are from, the Citadel, right?
Yeah, that's true. I was thinking about earlier, like, the differences between 175 years ago Game of Thrones and the Game of Thrones that we first saw, and like the only difference I can see now is the ravens, because other than that, like if you were to do a show about
America, I literally thought the same thing earlier.
You know what I'm about to say. If you did a show from America that was 175 years ago, people would dress and act a lot different.
Oh, yeah.
But the style of clothes has not changed. None of the weaponry changes at all. Everything is exactly the same.
Literally, exactly.
Yeah, which
the
I'm
same.
for, because I don't know how you would do it any other way.
Like this show, they have more dragons.
Yeah.
Game of Thrones, they have ravens, and then end up having dragons, but hadn't had dragons in years.
That's interesting. I hadn't even thought about that, but you're right. There's no ravens, and I guess the only explanation is like the Citadel started that.
Yeah.
Or
they just, I guess the Citadel hadn't started yet.
Yeah,
I
right.
don't know. But he's like, put this in his hand, and he's like, all right, fam, I got you.
Mm-hmm.
He goes to the Stepstones, which I don't know how long that takes. Like, you know, like how long that trip is.
Well, if you remember it, when Game of Thrones first started, it took them months and years to get places. And then by the end of Game of Thrones, everybody was just zipping back and forth because they needed to speed the story up.
Yeah.
Maybe in this show, they're like, we're skipping around year to year. We're just, look, it's right there. We don't have time to make someone take the King's Road for a couple months.
Well, he gets there and he's like, I come with a letter for King Viserys, first men, King of the Andals, you know, the whole shebang. Gives the note to Damon, and Damon, he goes to hand it to him, and Damon's just standing there, which he, by the way, had just got off his dragon and walked down the hill in the most dramatic way. It was so cool. Like, he steals a scene.
He's really good.
I don't think in this episode he said anything. Did he say words?
Hold on. He says, "Where are you?" to Prince Dakar. When he's riding around his dragons, he goes, "Where are you?"
Those are the only words.
But that's it. You're right. He doesn't say anything.
And he just captured the show. So he hands him the note. He's right there, and it's like someone's handing him just like a little Post-it note. He was like grabs it with his so delicate, like, let me read this.
Yeah.
The note.
And it didn't hit for him.
No, it didn't hit for him. The king, who in the kindness of his heart's like, you know, like, I love you. I don't want you to lose this war. Like, I want you to survive. I'm gonna send ships over there. And honestly, not for arrogant reasons. Really, just because
I should have been here this whole time.
I should have been here this whole time. I don't want to lose you. Like, you're my brother. Like, literally, no tone of arrogance in there.
Yeah.
Damon's just like,
Yeah, he had never heard.
Just starts knocking the guy.
I think this is where the phrase "don't shoot the messenger" came from. It was this instance, and they were just like, "Hey, you probably shouldn't do that. He didn't do anything."
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming the guy died.
I don't see any other way other than he's dead. I mean, he bashed his head, and you didn't see him get up. Like, I think he's definitely 100% dead.
And right before that conversation, we had Lord Corlys and his brother. I can't remember his brother's name. They're discussing it. His brother.
Keith?
Yeah, Keith. His brother is like, listen, we've been doing this for 3 years. We're losing. We're out of food. Like, we're done. We cannot do this anymore. Like, Damon got this started, and it's just not working well. Corliss is like, I'm not going to let you start a mutiny. You know, like, we got to see it through.
Mm-hmm.
We got to see it through. So they try to come up with this plan, and they're like, how are we going to get the crab feeder and all his men out of the cave? I'm like, well, someone's going to have to go over there and lure him out. I'm like, well, who's going to sacrifice themselves? Brother's like, well, it should be Damon because, you know, he's mad at Damon.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and we're, you know, the audience is thinking, well, it ain't going to be Damon.
Yeah, there's no way.
Yeah, I mean, they're just going to pick some dude, obviously not the messenger dude.
Yeah, no.
And,
no, he's out.
Yeah, they're just going to pick some dude to just, like, you know, lure him out. Well, no. All of a sudden, on his canoe, Damon rides.
Yes, he does.
And he shows up to the beach, and there's a skeleton with crabs just coming out of it. And he's like, I'm going for it. Makes a white flag.
Yeah, which is a you know, that's a rule of war. You're not supposed, like, if you surrender, you got to surrender, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
it's like in the NFL when the quarterback takes the faked knee. It's like, you can't do that, man, because we all stopped. That's BS. You got, like, if you do this, like.
He gets the flag, and he's just like, hey. Well, no, he's not like, hey. He's thinking that. He ain't saying it because literally it says, like, no words in the episode except the very beginning. He is walking through, like, I surrender, guys. Like, you know, here I am.
Hey, sorry about all this stuff, Mr. Crab Boy.
Yeah. Then when he goes to surrender, he's like, sock, and he just starts knifing everyone.
He did, and there's so many people down there. Like, when it first happened, I was like, okay, there's no way Matt Smith is going to die, but, like, what do they hope to gain here? Like, how is one person going to take over? Like, anytime in any of these shows, there's one dude, and they start going through a battlefield, and they kill, like, 5 or 6 guys in a row.
All of a sudden, there's a slow motion hit to the gut.
Yeah, right.
You know?
But also, did you see the meme? That was a picture of Damon and then a picture of Rickon, and it said one of them knows how to run in a zigzag.
Yes. Oh my God. Literally, when I was watching it on Sunday, I was sitting there with Amber, his wife Amber, and I was like, he's zigzagging. He knows what to do. He knows the deal. So he starts, you know, just knifing everybody, just going to town, and then all of a sudden he gets hit with a few arrows. And you're thinking, well, I mean, I know this can't be it. But also, like, maybe he dies and comes back to life. I mean, this is a world with dragons.
Yeah, right. And, you know, White Walkers, they were still asleep then. But
yeah. So I'm like, oh, you know, he's going to survive. Surely. Well, all of a sudden, dragon comes out. And it's Rhaenyra.
Yeah, the buttercream looking one, wasn't it? Or the red one?
Oh. Rhaenyra's the dude, I think.
Oh, yeah, my
bad.
I
was just like, he comes out on the dragon, and he's just like, Dracarys, all up in it. Burning him up, and, you know, just going for it. And, mind you, in Damon's head, he's sacrificing himself.
Oh, yeah, I mean,
I don't think he knew they're going to do this.
I don't know how he could, but even if they were going to do that,
he knew that the odds are stacked against me.
He still has to know, I'm psyching this guy out, and then I'm running on the beaches of Game of Thrones Normandy against all these people, like, and they're gonna be shooting arrows at me. So, like, in his mind, he was like, "This might be it."
So he's done his job. He's got them all out. The dragon is just burning everybody up. Then you see in the smoke the crab feeder go into his cave. Like, I don't know if he's just going in there to, like, chill, or if he's, like, going in there to, like, regroup. I don't know. Well, Damon is like, you know, you're mine. I'm killing you. Goes in there. All of a sudden, comes back with just his torso dragging him. And I'm like.
It was, for those of you that haven't seen, it was very much like Darth Maul in Star Wars Episode 1 when he gets cut in half and falls down. I was getting big Darth Maul vibes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so happy he died, but, like, why didn't we get to see it?
The only explanation I can think of is that maybe they shot a scene of it and they didn't like it. But like, I don't get it
No,
either.
I think there's more to there's something else. There's something else that we'll find out in season 7 of House of the Dragon
the next prequel.
Yes,
No, I don't know, but it was. I don't know, or maybe it's just like now you can just imagine how badass it was. Like I don't know, but it did seem like a weak culmination to the buildup of here's the big bad, and now we'll also clearly this guy's not. I mean, there's still 8 episodes left or something.
Yeah.
So like
that.
I thought that this guy was gonna keep rocking for a while, but turns out he just had a 3-episode arc, and now he's out, and so I don't really know. Clearly, something big's about to happen.
Yeah. Well, I know that we're gonna jump a few more years.
Same actor still?
I think for at least next episode there is, but he's Dragon Dude. He is Dragon Dude.
He is Dragon Dude.
But he is dragging
the dude.
And by the way, side note, totally had grayscale.
Oh yeah, for sure. I noticed that in the last episode. I was like, I bet you this guy had. Well, I didn't know. I was like, I bet you he has grayscale.
Well, and I forgot that that's not technically what grayscale really looked like. That's what grayscale looked like when you've tried to remove it.
Right.
Remember
Ser
Jorah?
Ser Jorah, yeah.
So obviously,
that scene when they have to take it all off of him. Oh, I felt for him so bad.
Oh. Yeah, terrible.
He's daddy, too, by the way. I've been rewatching Game of Thrones, and that is a handsome man that really commands a presence.
He is, but I don't know. He just...
You see him as the guy from Downton Abbey.
Yeah.
Yes, that's 100% it.
Yeah, it is.
You see him as because you saw Downton Abbey before you saw Game of Thrones. You 100% see him as the newspaper man.
That is true.
I know. I know you.
That is true.
We are from the same womb.
Mm-hmm. But, yeah, same deal as Ser Jorah, obviously... was trying to remove it. By the way, is he contagious?
I was going to say, does Damon, because Damon's got open wounds.
Yeah.
And he's dragging this guy.
Maybe why we didn't see the whole killing scene, because during that scene, he's getting he comes in contact with it and he gets infected with grayscale.
And they're like, we want to leave it up to.
Yeah. Is that it?
I mean,
I don't know.
Again, if you, clearly grayscale is contagious.
Yeah, very contagious.
That's how Jorah got it.
Yeah.
So
when he was on the canoe thing with Tyrion.
And if he's fighting this guy and they're swapping blood, which there's no way that they weren't, because Damon.
This is literally the equivalent of just exchanging dirty needles.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so they're fighting and they're like, so I mean I don't see a world in which Damon doesn't get grayscale, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Or to me, it's going to be a pretty big plot hole. Yeah. Unless that guy doesn't have grayscale and what he had was something completely different. Who knows?
Maybe so. I don't know. But I do know that Samuel Tarly, found the cure for grayscale 170 odd years ago. So if he has grayscale,
yeah,
it ain't good. It ain't looking good.
No.
Surely he don't. But, I don't know. But he's walking down the beach just here we go. Mm-hmm. And it's the guy's torso and his head or whatever. And he just, is bleeding, in the ocean. And then it just shows Damon just all bloody. And it kind of mirrors Rhaenyra, where she's got all the blood on her when she walks through. And all the men want her.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It was just...
Oh, and the dude's guts were hanging out, which I thought was a nice treat.
Yeah. Right there.
Looked like link sausages.
Right there was showing what Damon we were going to get the rest of the season. That's Damon right there. And it cut off. That was the end of the episode.
And it was a fantastic episode. I'll be honest with you. I now kind of regret giving 5 dragons to the last episode because I don't have anywhere to go.
Yeah, I was going to say 4.9.5 on this one, only because we didn't get to see the crab feeder die.
Maybe, but we gave the last episode 5 dragons, and this episode was better. But I guess if you're...
I know.
So do we take away dragons from the last episode, or do we go, this one's 5 dragons, and I guess maybe we're going to have to go to more than 5.
I mean... there can be more than
Oh, right.
10,
We're making the rules. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there can be more than one 5-star something. Don't
yeah.
you think?
I'll tell you what you're going to have to get 5 stars at is talking into the damn microphone.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. You've never done this before.
Can I get like a headpiece? Like,
yes, I'll get you headphones next time so you'll know.
Yeah,
that's
like ESPN style?
That's why they're used. It's just that we're a low budget operation over here. So I'll get a splitter, and that way you'll be able to know every time.
I just talk with my hands, and I'm just everywhere.
Hey, listen, I'm not great at it.
Yeah.
You're doing wonderful. You've just started doing this. Trust me, it took Trae Crowder 7 years to figure out how to do it.
Yeah.
But all that aside the point, this is as good of an episode as there's been, for sure. It was heavy metal. There was drama. There was murder. There was plenty of dragons, which I'm so glad that they're not letting up on.
Yeah, and that scene where that dragon literally just like picked the guy up and was like...
That was the best. That was the best.
I didn't notice it the first time I watched it.
It flung like 3 of them. It was just
literally like as high as a mountain.
Yeah, it was Uncle Rico.
It was
that
Uncle
dragon's
Rico.
like, I'm gonna throw them bodies over that mountain. Bet I can't.
I didn't notice the first episode. I noticed the second episode.
There was a lot
of
of funny stuff in this, and like our first complaint on the very first episode was like there wasn't enough levity and stuff, and I feel like this episode, now a lot of it was physical humor,
Who
and
would
it had
think
to
that
do.
the dragons are the funny part?
They're hilarious.
Yeah.
They are the Abbott and Costello of this
Yes,
show. They are
yes.
physically hilarious.
Yes.
So that has been episode 3. It was called Second of His
Second
Name.
of His Name.
Second of His Name. This is the obviously 3rd episode of Little House of the Dragon. We hope you join us next week for episode 4. If you're just listening to this for the first time, you can see it, watch it, all that good stuff at watchpoa.com. Tell your friends. Maybe you have some friends out there who you're like, I don't think they'd be into putting on airs, but maybe they're a big Game of Thrones fan and they would like this. So we really appreciate you liking, subscribing, downloading. Leave us a 5-star review if you think we've earned it. It takes you 2 seconds, but it really helps us jump up in the ratings. And by the way, even if you've rated us before, who cares? Do it again.
Yeah.
So we love y'all. I have been Lord Corey Ryan Forster, and
The lady, Kirby Askew.
and we'll see y'all next time.
Bye,
Later,
guys.
Later, airheads.
Bye.